Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dee Reinhardt. I'm with Illinois WorkNet, and today we are doing our DHS Youth Technical Assistance. The first thing that I wanted to mention was that the timeout process on your screens went into effect last Monday, a week ago Monday. And so if you're in your customer support center, and you do not click on a tab within 30 minutes, you will get a 5-minute warning. And there is supposed to be a message that you see on the screen. If you don't see that tab, there should be something right up here that says timeout, and then it's going to log you out. It only takes effect in the customer support center. So if your customers are working on Employment 101 or any of the other tools in Illinois WorkNet, it should not impact their use of those tools. If it does, let me know, because there is something happening otherwise that they should not have that happen to them. Josh, you got to mute yourself, please. Okay, the next thing that I want to mention is Friday. So Brandon, I'm going to let you talk about Friday.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully it's sunny where you are. Friday is the next IYP quarterly management meeting. I sent out, well, I re-sent out the email from Amanda from ICOI that has the link to register for the quarterly meeting. So if you've not registered for that yet, you can do so. If for some reason you don't have the link or can't get it from someone in your agency, then shoot me an email and I'll send it to you again. It's at 10 o'clock, 10 to 12:30 is the scheduled time. And Dee will do a little bit on WorkNet, and we'll talk about some updates and some different things. So that's Friday.
So Friday, I don't plan on having much. So if you've got questions, it'll be a good time to ask them. Today, I do want to talk about a couple of things that I've gotten emails about or notifications. Brandon, you want to put your email address in the chat pod because Catrice is asking what it is.
Yes, no problem.
So what we need to talk about right now is on a customer's career plan, and everybody will have some sort of a career plan. There will be some pre-populated steps, and this document is from July of 2021. It's V5, so make sure that you have the latest version. And on here, it shows all of the pre-populated steps. Now, right now, Avi is working on, I gave you guys the sneak peek the last meeting on the PPR in the system, in the computer. But these steps are associated with many of the items on that PPR. So you want to make sure that your customers have all of these steps. Now, if you added them sometime after probably August 1, they automatically should all be there. But if you added somebody earlier and they're changing categories, or they were in the system last year and then they're coming back this year, you need to make sure that all of these steps are in their tool. You have the ability to mark them as evaluated, not required, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. But the career plans are a required element, and they will track automatically in the PPR, performance. I can't even remember what PPR stands for, but the performance report. So make sure that you have these steps, and you can find this document on the full list of resources, and it will show you it will show you the list. And then there are also instructions for the career plan and the progress options in their career plan. So what we want to do now is I'm going to take you to test, and you can see on here from a customer. I'm just going to go back to an old customer. If I have this customer in the system and they do not have all of those steps in their career plan, so like right here, this guy doesn't have hardly any. You go to their career plan and you add the steps. If you do not see the steps to add, you do need to go to your grantee details. I'm going to open this in a new tab. You do need to go to the grantee details, and at the bottom of the page, you need to add those steps and services to your agency, but they should be there if you've added a customer since August, because they're automatic. Oops, wrong. So down here at the very bottom under the services, you would click on edit services to use on career plans. You would add the items here and just go down the list and make sure that you have all of the steps that can be added to your customer. Now, the other piece that we have demonstrated several different times is the services report. So if you go to reports, you go to reports and you go to the customer services report, as long as one of your customers has all of the steps on their profile, all of these steps will show up here. And then you can filter. You can pick start date and end date range if you want to narrow it down to this program year. But on here, it will show you, and I don't know quite why these aren't in alphabetical order together here, but they should show up. It will show you how many customers you have that have it not started. You can see if they were evaluated, not required. You can see the total customers with the step, total customers without the step or service. You want to make sure that the items are started in the system at minimum. If they are evaluated, not required, then they will be here. So let me go to one that has just a few so that I'm not tracking 100 people here. We'll go to CLS Daily Living. I click on that 6 with the people that are not started. And it gives me a list of those people. It takes it a hot second to populate. But supposing that all of these people were evaluated, not required, I can mark them. We are supposed to be able to do this, but if we do a start date, an end date, all the same day, a planned due date, all of these dates the same, and put a 0 in the weekly hours, then I know that it will go through for sure. And then if this person started it and they had a start date here, they don't have an end date, they have a planned due date of December 6th, they're going to do 10 hours a week. The way that it's supposed to work now is you're supposed to be able to save this. If there is an issue with that, please let me know, because I will have the programmer review this again. I'm going to do another couple of evaluated, not required. I love how my phone tells me that it's a spam call. I just love that. Sorry, it's ringing. And we're going to have I'm going to save this. So there were 6 services updated. Boom. Now it took me a couple of minutes to go through and mark each one, but this will help you get everybody caught up so that when the performance goes live for this quarter, you'll have everybody all caught up on their career plan. Brandon, do you want to say anything about career plans?
Just that the case plan is required for everyone, which it's called the career plan in here. And it is part of the project commitments that's in the NOFO or the contract, the program description. So every youth, when they register for the program, they should be doing the Casey life skills and developing a case plan soon into enrollment. I mean, towards the beginning, if at all possible. But that is one of the requirements of the program. It's not just an employment program. And then also, I just put something in the chat about the trainings because I forgot to mention that this Friday, ICOI will, because it's been 3 months since our last meeting. So I know that there's been new staff and everything that have started since August that have emailed me. So Casey Life Skills and Trauma Informed are the 2 required trainings, and they'll discuss when those training opportunities will be available. They'll discuss that this Friday, and you do not have to do it every year. Once you're trauma informed or once you've attended a Casey Life Skills training, you don't have to attend it again unless you just want to, for a refresher.
But the sexual harassment is required annually.
Yes, but I mean, that's not something that's specific to this grant. These 2
Okay.
are trauma informed. Yeah, that's in the contract, the trauma informed, the Casey Life Skills. And again, the Casey Life Skills, that's one of the main requirements. I mean, you know, Casey Life Skills and employment. I mean, it's a major part of the grant, the Casey Life Skills and the case plan and helping youth with other issues besides just employment. Sometimes they have to be helped with other issues before they can be employable. You all know that.
All right. The next thing I wanted to talk about was on my list, I have payrolls. Brandon has started reviewing payrolls, and we may have another staff person reviewing them. So you need to make sure that you are up to date in the system with your payroll uploads. Does anybody need me to show them how to accomplish that?
No, Dee, but I do have a question for Brandon, if possible. This is George.
Go ahead.
Brandon, you spoke about other things that youth may need. We're running into a situation where we've got a youth who has some health issues and needs glasses. And we've determined that that's part of why he's not doing well in school and such. And of course, you can't work if you can't see. Can the grant funds go toward getting him a pair of glasses and scheduling him an eye exam? I don't think he has insurance.
Yes, I mean, I would think that would fall under supportive services. Yes.
Okay, good. That was it. Okay. I just didn't know how far in the health we could. I know supportive services usually daycare, clothes, stuff like that. Can we pay for medical stuff? That's my concern.
Yes, I agree. And if I don't have my contacts in, I'm blind, so I'm all for contacts or glasses. You need to be able to see for sure.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thanks, Dee. Sorry.
No worries. One thing that I am going to do next is show you how to switch categories with a customer. So I'm going to look for category 1 youth on my dashboard here. And I'm going to get my list of customers that are category 1. And some of these names are very old. But what I want to show you is that if they've continued to be enrolled in your program, they were with you for the summer, and now you're switching them to category 2 or 3, all you have to do is come into the enrollment status, change the date here. So maybe it's going to be, when did, October 1st, maybe. So maybe they switched on October 1st. You switched them to category 2, and then you save it. And it should show, if you refresh the page, it should show in the enrollment history that you switched that person's category. Now, if they were a couple of years ago and you've lost contact with them in between and you discharged them, they will be required to complete a new application. You'll have to complete the eligibility, and then you will have to enroll them separately. Any questions about that?
Yes, I have a question. I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question. Our program was for the summer and it ended September 30th. Do I go in and close all the participants out? Or what do I do?
Are you going to be re-enrolling them into a different category?
No.
Then you can discharge them as program ended. So down here under the discharge case closure, it would be discharge case closed. And you can say grant program ended, or my husband's going to ring the doorbell because he came to the front door. Excuse me, one moment. Okay, so then what you would do, maybe depending upon what the situation is, it could be grant program ended, and then you would have to re-enroll them for the next session if they come back next summer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. What
Now,
about
there was a string of emails that was going around this week that if they were in summer youth last summer and they you spent their entire 90 days, they have no more days for subsidized wages.
also in the payroll, do I put an end date in there for their payroll or no? I thought I saw something.
Yes, you do need to do that. So
Okay, where do I?
on their career plan,
Okay.
so we've had some issues with the worksite placement piece happening the wrong way, but on their career plan,
Mhm.
on their employment piece, now I'm going to have to dig around here for the okay, so this person had their employment entered the wrong way. So he's been in here a long time. So I think this was entered before we had the new way to do it. But it would be gain employment, and I don't have one, so I'm just gonna add him to a service step here. And then you add, when you originally did it, you added the wages. You've got $15 here, hourly wage for placement. You're subsidizing it for the 15 or whatever you're subsidizing it for. What was the position? They started it. The start date was maybe, well, let's go back to 2021. Let's go to June 1. Their end date, you don't necessarily need to put that in right away because you need to get the stats in there to begin with if you don't already have it there. their subsidized start date would be, oh, come on. June 1. And then how many hours they're working, 20, say. You're going to update that customer service. Now, once that's added and you've seen the successful add there, or you're coming into it after the fact, then what you need to do is to close them out. We have an end date and say that it was that September 30th date. You pick that. That's also the end date of their subsidized. So then you have to take out the subsidized wage and make that 0. It's the same as if they stay at that employer and the employer starts paying the whole wage. So then this would be considered a successful completion because they did their 90 days if it was work experience. For this one, you're not necessarily ending the employment, you're only ending the subsidized wage. Then you wouldn't change this status at all. And then what it'll do, you'll update the customer service, and then it will show you on here that I have 116 subsidized days. So that's too many for the program for category 1. So you have to keep track of that 90-day mark.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you caught all that, right?
I did.
Okay, good, good, good. All right, any other questions about switching categories or payroll?
Yes, Dean, this is John.
Yes.
Question, so potentially majority of our students didn't reach the 90-day maximum. And so they're technically can stay on. And if they want to work next year, we don't have to do anything but add them on that. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to discharge them now. If potentially they could stay on and work next year.
Brandon, that's a question for you.
Okay, well, first and foremost, so say they've already worked like 30 days, then they would only have 60 days left. So you have to keep track of their subsidized days that they've already spent, they've already used. But yes, they could work again in category 1 if they have not used up all their 90 days. I mean, if it was me personally, I mean, if they'd already used like 70 days, I mean, I wouldn't really mess with them again, but it's kind of up to you, and it's sort of on a situation by situation basis. I mean, if it can benefit the youth, then sure.
Yes, we have a number of students that have about quite a few days because our students are high school students and they started late, and so they went back to school, and so they might have 30 days remaining on their things. So we won't have to do anything with discharging them. That's the main thing. We don't have to discharge them at this point.
Right. No, you do not discharge them if they still have quite a few days remaining and they're going to do category 1 again.
Yes, that was my question.
Yeah, you just have to keep track of the subsidized days and track that for 90. Right. But no, you definitely wouldn't have to discharge them.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
All right, in the chat, Cecily asked if a student is Cat 1 and has 40 days from 2021, can they re-enroll in Cat 1 for 2022 for a max of 50 days? Yes, okay. All right, she says, I got it. Okay, any other questions that I am able to record?
I just want to clarify, Dee. So Brandon, you said if it's just category 1 and the youth is coming back in June to work, do not discharge them, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Brandon, I have a question right quick. But if we're not for sure if those students are coming back, should we discharge them? Because a lot of times we're not for sure if those same students are coming back.
You can
I
always.
wouldn't discharge unless you're for sure.
Okay, okay, all right, thank you.
Don't you think, Dee? I mean, because it would be more trouble to re-enroll them, wouldn't it? If they discharge them?
They just have to go through the application, the eligibility, and enrolling them. And then we have actual parameters for tracking for PPR. Because if you enroll them last year, and if people are looking in their customer lists for their customers from last year. So if I go to my list and I'm looking for DHS Youth, and I'm looking, I get this all the time from agencies that they are showing up in a previous program year. So if you don't look by program year, you'll see your whole list. But if you do choose in your customer list to look by program year, it will throw it off. It will throw the numbers off. So we may have to have a discussion between Brandon and I and Nicole and tell you about this the next time.
Okay, I have a question, because one thing is that if we keep them in there, do we have to keep up with the case notes month after month, even though they're not active? For the category ones?
That's a Brandon question for sure. So are they going, if we decide to leave them in there, are they going to have to put a case note in?
Well, again, category 1 is so different since it's just a short-term summer employment type program. If you're only dealing with category 1 youth and you're talking about category 1 youth is going to repeat category 1 again for next summer, then no. I mean, they really wouldn't be active or anything from August or whenever they finished this past year, category 1. So you wouldn't start, their subsidized day. Well, definitely not their employment or subsidized days or case note or any of that stuff. I mean, unless there was something just really noteworthy that developed during the year or something. But if you're just talking about category 1 and repeating category 1, not changing to a different category or anything, then they're sort of just sitting there waiting until they start up category 1 programming again.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions that we can record? Okay, I'm going to end the recording. Thanks for watching today. We're going offline so that we can share real data.